Hi, welcome to week 3. I want to say before I start that you all are doing such good stuff on Pruzol and Padlet. I'm just absolutely blown away. That comment I posted on Slack was not for fun. It was honest. I, I've really been enjoying reading stuff. I don't necessarily comment on everything that I read in Pruzol or on the Padlet, at least not right now. But if there's something that I think is particularly interesting or is funny or made me think, there are questions, I will always say something. But it doesn't mean I haven't read everything. Even if I maybe don't make some kind of comment, I read all of it. So just be aware that I am reading everything and I'm really enjoying what I'm reading on these things. The Padlet, I've been sort of a little less active on it, but that's going to change starting this week because we're going to be using Padlet now a lot more for brainstorming ideas, especially this week as we get into choosing our discourse communities and figuring out how we want to write it. But that doesn't take away from the great stuff that you guys have been doing. I really, congratulations on all that hard work. It's really impressive, and I appreciate it. Let's see, admin things. The intro unit grades, I'll get those up this weekend. Fingers crossed if things go to plan. And I think that's all the admin things that are going on. I think everybody is up to speed on all the tools. I will say this, Google sort of has a mind of its own sometimes, and it messes up the links. So if something has gone wrong, like the link has disappeared or it says it's in the trash or something like that, or you're having trouble getting into anything, just keep letting me know because these things happen. And unless somebody, sort of warns me, tells me that they can't see it on their end, I don't know. I can't fix it. Padlet in particular this year had a lot of new settings that I was not aware of. And so, you guys calling that out to me really helped me go back in and fix it all. And I think they're all fixed, but that doesn't mean anything. In my attempt to put in links sort of everywhere so people can find them, I will miss one occasionally. So do keep telling me, do let me know on Slack or email, and I'll go back in and fix it and let everybody know. So thank you for that. Okay, so this week we're really getting into what you're going to be doing, writing about a discourse community. So I'm going to put, I'm going to go grab, if I can figure out where it is. It's not here. It's not this one. Let's see, it's in here. Whiteboards, there we go, whiteboards. I wanted to talk a little bit about the different discourse communities. And because we read Lysicott stuff or watched her thing or read it if you wanted to. Hassan's thing about his name and Fuku, of course, which is always difficult. And I appreciate people struggling with it. You all got it. You all kind of got it figured out. It's that word is sort of a way of describing a whole culture, which I'll get to in a second. And then there's the Queen Latifah and the Perry Kloss stuff. So there's been a lot of different kinds of discourse communities. So let me put them up here. One of them, the easiest one, is professional. Things like medicine and I don't know why I'm getting all these weird things on here. Medicine and architecture. Had students do architecture, radiology, tech, working in a pizza. I had one great one, but working in a pizza shop because it was its own, it really was seriously its own discourse community. So, with language and how things work. So those are easy ones to look at, the professional ones, because we all belong to a lot of them, right? So that's one. And so the second one would be things more like, I'm going to call it activity. Like that. Like I do crochet, sports teams, gym, uh, those kinds of activities that you get involved with, makeup groups, all that kind of stuff. So that's a second one. And A third one would be, I'm going to call it community groups. Oh, these are like the mommy and me. It could be like things like Black Lives Matter. It could be outreach, tutoring, there's any number of things where you're working with another group of people, helping them or doing things, right? So there's 1, 2, 3 community groups. Now and those are the ones we generally think of as discourse communities because they've got goals. They want to be better at sports. They want to be better parents. They want to learn their field, right? So this professional ones are like, this is like Perry Kloss, being a doctor. Um, Sports communities. I can't remember what some of the other ones we're talking about. But the fourth one is a little bit odd and it's cultural. And this is Fuku. This is maintaining traditions. Spell that right? I didn't spell that right. Traditions, that kind of thing. This one's a little bit harder to define and a little bit harder to do. I had some of the ones that have been really funny have been about family, which I don't necessarily recommend you do, but two of the best ones I've ever gotten. One was his large Puerto Rican family, and he took us into a birthday celebration and used the language and how, different people in the family had different roles and were teaching things different ways. Hilarious, really fun, really took us there so we could see it. One I had last term, we went to a Seder dinner with his big, loud Jewish family. So it was pretty fascinating. So you can do it that way, but you really have to sort of lean on the language and the relationships among the people, even more than the other three. So this should give you some ideas of things that you can choose for your own discourse community. Okay. And we read things like this is class cultural. Queen Latifah is talking about a professional discourse community of music, but her overall intent was sort of cultural. How do we change the attitudes and the language of this discourse community to affect the culture as a whole? So you can do that too. So there are ways to kind of pull these things together. The simplest way is just to pick one and talk about it. If you really got something interesting in mind, put it up on the Padlet, and I'm all over those. I check them all the time, and we'll see what we say. The other thing about putting your things up on the Padlet, which I'll get to again in a second, is that everybody has to go in and read them. Leave people suggestions, questions. Maybe you have some contacts or some information. Maybe you have a personal story that you can share that would be helpful to them. Just put that in the Padlet, and you can get in touch with each other, DMing on Slack, and get some help that way. One of the best ones I ever got was about homeless shelters, and how we talk about homelessness. And this is years ago, and it turned out one of the students, her family had just come out of a shelter, and they had been living in the car. They moved into a shelter, they moved out, and they had put their lives back together. And she gave that information to the student who was writing the paper and gave him an entree into that shelter. And he did interviews there, used, fake names and all that kind of stuff. And he did some research about how we talk about homelessness as a society, interspersed with these interviews. And it was one of the best papers I ever read. I wish I still had it, but I don't. It's gone. But it was great. Had everybody in the class was crying when we read it. It was a really good piece. So, helping each other with that kind of thing can really make this project even better than it was. Adding pictures and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, so these are the 4: professional, activities, community groups, and cultural. And I didn't put family on here for a reason, because family can be, but doesn't have to be. Okay, so that's what the whiteboard. Close the whiteboard. So now I'm going to go over and we'll look at the schedule for the week. And I just got 451 up because I don't know why, but I just do. So we'll go over to content. Hello. And this one, here's the schedule. Alrighty. So this is this week. So one of the things about this discourse community paper is that it really is a story. Let me show you a couple of examples. This was a student who was talking about becoming a student nurse, right? So this was a professional one when I first entered nursing school. And so she talked about how she felt sitting in the fundamentals class and, learning all these things and interacting with the instructor and clinicals. And it was really sort of the contemporary nursing version of Peggy Class's thing from the 80s. This one was a little different. This is one of the best ones I've ever gotten. And she's talking about learning to be a baker in school. And so she really takes us to baking class. And we see I'm standing in the kitchen, counters are cluttered, looked over to her friend, have some dialogue, piping bag is ready, the instructor's there. It's a really, really wonderful story. And she talks about how much it's changed, how she thinks about baking. It's not just something for fun anymore, it's a craft and a skill. So that's another way to approach this, by telling the story, which was terrific. So let me go back over to the schedule, right? So again, those are other ways to do it. Oops, here, where are we? We are right here, right? So we're going to be telling stories, and one of the activity for this week, this first half of the week, is going to be sort of helping you create a scene, which some of you may have done in 1101 anyway. First things first. Here's the Padlet, or this is for 451. Some people have already got theirs up, which is great. I'll come in. I haven't seen these. I have seen Jack's. And Jack, by the way, if you're watching this, it wasn't Zoom. I had a loose connection, so everything is fine. We were trying to Zoom yesterday and my video went away because of my cat running around behind the computer. So here's some. People have already got them up. Jim, being an architecture student community, basketball, okay, and being a basketball player and watching. So this is where you'll upload that. And then in here, add comments, questions, suggestions, help, like my student did about the homeless shelter. Okay, so that's the first thing you're going to do. And here, this one's fun. Over in the drive, please let this work. This one was corrupted yesterday. There it is. So go over here, go to just, and 0470 is just exactly the same. Go here and you'll find this activity page. Right. So here's what you do. You watch the video, but the link is below this. And this is by Linda Berry, who is the artist you'll be listening to. She's going to do a visualization exercise, which I do with my screenwriting students all the time, to set up scenes and sort of get a feeling for the scene, right? And those two students, the ones I showed you already, theirs thing came out after they sort of took this activity and ran with it, and that's where their papers came from. So you pick a scene with your discourse community in action. So you're not going to do exactly what Linda Berry tells you to do. Instead of doing whatever it is she says, which I don't remember, just do something about a time your discourse community gets together, some interaction. You don't have to make the whole paper one of those scenes, but it's good for bringing texture and interest to these papers. So, and this is the kind of work she does. Look at this. This is really something. It's all about, being tardy and dealing with teachers. And she does wonderful, weird graphic novels about her life. Okay, so here's the YouTube video. Here's the start and stop, so you won't have to go through all the preliminary stuff. And again, use your discourse. She's using a neighbor as a prompt idea, but use your own discourse community and a place where they're interacting, because you want to be at a place. So you're going to describe the place and the people you're with and what's going on. And then once you've done that, write a paragraph based on that exercise, starting with the word I am. Tell us where you are. Doesn't have to be long, right? And then put it here, like Shantoni and Shadman have already got theirs up. That's just right. I'm not obviously not grading on grammar, spelling, or punctuation. I don't care. That's what these little squigglies are. But that's the whole point of this. Now, you do not have to use these in your paper, but you can. The one with the baking, she wrote her thing was about one part of that, and then she sort of expanded it and talked about going through the whole class. So that's what the activity, and it's really fun. It's a fun thing to do. and it'll help you kind of kick out the, get your creative juices flowing, kick out the cobwebs, as they say, and get that up. So that's the activity here, and that's all there is to this one. Right, so then we go back over to the schedule, and then in perusal, read and annotate shitty first drafts, which most of you have probably already done. Fuku, where'd he go? Here's SFDs, shitty first drafts. So you probably read the Annie Lamott thing, which essentially says, as my mentor, the one who taught me how to do screenwriting, said, first drafts suck, they will always suck, and that's okay. And that's what this is all about. So it's a short piece. Some people have already started looking at it, which is cool. But that's all the reading for this week, really. Okay, so that's by Sunday, pretty quick. Do get in and talk to each other on the Padlet. And then by Wednesday, do your own shitty first draft, your own SFD, and put it in the Google Drive. I'm going to make sure this link is working. Yeah, it's working. There we go. Thank you very much. Okay, it doesn't have to be polished or even finished, but it should be at least half of it, so we can give feedback, which is what we're going to be doing next week. Next week, this is all about how to leave good, helpful, positive feedback for each other, and getting a revised draft of it done. Now, don't forget that even this draft that goes in Brightspace, you can edit again. You can revise as many times as you want to between now and the end of the term. These are usually pretty good, right? But I'll probably leave comments about commas and flow and that kind of stuff, although I may do that on the drafts too. I'll try to get this done as fast as I can. So that's it. This is week 3. Here we are. There's the Padlet. Do the activity, read shitty first drafts, and then you're going to do a draft and put it in the drive. There goes my dog. It's a good thing I'm done. So I'm going to stop now, and I will see you later. Bye.